Hi everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Tanmay Singh. I am an MBA and MIM admissions coach and have been helping study abroad aspirants since September 2015. If you wish to study abroad, please reach out to me and I would be glad to help you. Today, I would be talking to Nishant CB, who has received an offer letter from ESADE Business School, which is ranked 17th in the world as per Financial Times rankings. Nishant would be pursuing the full-time MBA program at Asade Business School that would start in September 2025. I'm glad to share that Nishant has also received a scholarship of 10,000 euros, even though he represents the archetype of Indian male engineer. Now, that's a massive feat. He has kindly agreed to share his experiences, advice, and more. Let's find out. Hi, Nishant. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. To begin with, could you please briefly describe your profile?
Hi, Tanmay. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. It's been a pleasure working with you across all the applications that I worked on. So, to describe my profile, I hold a degree in chemical engineering from NIT Rourkela. I graduated in 2020 and I have since established a career in business analytics. So I started off my career at a market research firm called Kantar. I worked there as a senior analyst, where I worked with Fortune 500 clients, helping them in their analytical needs. After spending about 1.5 years, I decided to move from the service industry to the product industry, and that's when I joined LiveSpace. So LiveSpace was a rising home interior startup at the time. This was in 2022 March, and I joined uh, as one of the earliest members in the renovation team of LiveSpace. And over the last 2.5 years, I've received a promotion, and I've been continued to work in the renovation team. So I take care of the end-to-end analytics infrastructure of the sales and operations teams at LiveSpace. I also oversee various programs and initiatives that we run to improve various metrics in the renovation team. And yeah, other than that, during my free time, I like to engage myself in photography and swimming. I make a habit to swim daily to keep myself fit. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for introducing yourself, Nishant. Now, what is it that at this stage of your career motivated you to pursue an MBA? I'm trying to understand for our viewers, why is it that you want to pursue an MBA?
Sure, sure. So in the past 4 years, I uh, I had the opportunity to work with data and with senior stakeholders who take business decisions. So at my time at Kantar, my work was more data focused, and once I realized that I wanted to work more on the business front, I decided to make the switch to LiveSpace. At LiveSpace, I had the chance to work closely with senior directors and CXOs who shape the strategies of the company. After I presented them with the data, I had the opportunity to uh, like sit with them and understand the challenges and drive process improvements. So this is when I realized that my interest went beyond pure analytics. So I wanted to move to a place where I actually made the decisions myself. Like I took the decisions myself rather than working on the data front. So while I did this, I also had a very good team and manager to support me at LiveSpace. So I realized specific gaps in my skills, and along with identifying these gaps, my work at LiveSpace was kind of reaching a plateau where I realized that if I wanted to move ahead, I had to become more skilled in on the technical front. So this is not something which I wanted to do. I wanted to move to the managerial front, and that's when I realized that an MBA will help me fill these gaps. So I had spoken to people at LiveSpace who had an MBA, and talking to them made me understand that there are specific gaps that I'll be able to fill using an MBA, and that's when I decided to uh, pursue an MBA.
Okay, sounds good to me. Now, Nishant, you and I work closely on your application, like in fact, extremely closely, right? What were the top three reasons for selecting me, aka Tanmay Singh, for being your mentor for your SADE MBA application?
Right. So I'll first start how I got to know about you. So there was a WhatsApp group where someone had mentioned your name, and I someone had posted your name and your credentials. So I just looked you up on LinkedIn. That's when I found you. And the way you used to interact with your students, I found it very uh, transparent and open. And I decided to have a call with you. And we had a discovery call, the first call that we did, I think in September of 2023, I believe, or August of 2023. And so during the discovery call, I mean, you kind of impressed me with your genuine approach and like clear communication style. You also offered your services at a very reasonable price, and I understood that like you had the ability to uh, keep things like precise, concise. You also exuded a lot of positivity, which is why maybe I decided to work with you in that very call itself. Other than this, I also observed that you were like pretty honest and transparent with what you wanted to deliver. So you made sure that I had never worked with any career coach or mentor, and you made sure that you made me understand what I was going to get and what you were going to deliver. Uh, you also, I remember a particular statement that you made that uh, you choose your students as well, along with the student choosing you, and
Mhm.
you highlighted the importance of earning trust over simply making money, and
Yeah.
which is why you were so honest in that call. So the fact that I hadn't even signed up with you yet, you made this like you spoke this line, actually made me want to work with you even more. So I wanted someone who showed this trust throughout our experience. Other
Mhm.
than that, even during my so after the discovery call, that is when I actually was studying for the GMAT. So during the GMAT journey, I remember you continued to check on me and offer support in any way. You suggested a few GMAT tutors and even students who had gotten good scores on GMAT. And talking to them, even couple of times helped me a lot in my GMAT journey.
Mhm.
The third reason is the personalized attention, I believe. Uh, I, throughout the time that we worked, uh, you made sure that the entire process felt like a team effort. I never felt like I was doing this. I was battling this journey. Okay, it didn't feel like a battle, but I never felt like I was going through this marathon all alone. I always felt like there was someone beside me. Uh, if anything went completely south, I knew that someone would be there along with me who also went south. I was not left alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were the single point of contact and throughout the journey. And even though you had told me that uh, like you would always be available for a call. I made sure to even message you only then call you. I never wanted to call you directly to disturb you. And whenever I had any questions or concerns, you were willing to help me without any hesitation. And if if you're busy, you would obviously text me or send a voice note saying you're doing something else. But you would make sure that you would reply before you uh, close the day. So
Yeah.
this commitment to providing this guidance, I also got to know this through the other articles that I read about you, but written by other students who had worked with you. So,
Mhm.
and I realized that this is something that I want to work with, and that's when I decided to choose you as my mentor for the application.
Okay, sounds good to me. Thank you for sharing your experience. Now, in relation to this, would you like to share certain tips that any study abroad aspirant could benefit from? I mean, the ones who are currently working just on their applications.
Sure, sure. So I have three tips. So the first step would be about the GMAT exam. So I had uh, taken the GMAT exam for the MBA applications. So my tip would be, it is always better to finish the GMAT before you dive into your application process. Uh, do not underestimate the exam. I did the mistake, so I would request everyone listening to this to not underestimate the exam. The GMAT exam is more of a marathon. It's rather than a sprint. Everyone takes different amount of time to reach the target score. Uh, if you've been academically bright throughout your career does not mean that you would finish the GMAT in less than the average time required. So that is why I said do not underestimate the exam. It is fine that if you take it is fine if you take more than 3 to 4 months for your first attempt. And I would rather focus on consistency for 2 to 3 hours every day rather than studying 6 to 7 hours or like 8 to 9 hours inconsistently. I believe GMAT yields better results when you start make those little efforts every day rather than studying in a haphazard way without any plan. Keeping this in mind, I also would suggest don't stretch too much over the GMAT. Like don't stress too much over the GMAT. It's only a part of your application. There are many other things in the application which would also have a lot of weight. So you might not realize this while you're studying for the GMAT because uh, you would like naturally see higher scores related to folks getting better admits in schools. But uh, don't get impatient. There are many more things which they're going to check on you when you work on your application. Having said that, if you have the time, retake the test to reach your target score. But don't stress too much. If you've gotten a score which you're happy with as per your target school, start on your work, application. Don't stress too much. You should not never be in a state where you're doubtful whether okay is this score good enough for me the school or not. If you're if you're happy with your score, forget about it. Work on your application. If you're not happy, take the exam. But don't do parallelly because then you would not be able to give your 100%. The applications is something which is, I believe, in my opinion, is much more difficult to do than your GMAT. So that is my experience. So yeah, like I said, trust on the process, focus on building a strong application. There are other factors which will also help you build a strong profile, and then everything will work out in the end.
Mhm.
Uh, Second point that I'd like to share is about the applications. So application essays offer a valuable chance to share your story. So carefully craft your responses to them. Uh, if you work with Tanmay, I'm sure he'll be providing you 3 documents to work on before you actually write the specific college essays. These essays might seem long and demanding, and committing to them thoroughly will make your college essays much easier. You would probably even question yourself, why is he making you write so much of stuff? But trust me, working on those documents before you work on essays will help you a lot, not just in application, but even when you're actually applying for jobs or interviews later on. Me personally, once I started working with Tanmay, I had taken about I think 1 month or I think 1 month, 1.5 months to work on only these documents. And after obviously we decided on the target schools, I worked on these documents. So uh, I realized early on that these are not documents that I can just use AI or ChatGPT to just copy paste. These are something which I need to go back to my childhood in my memory, relive all those memories, and then actually write whatever I can take out of them. So since I was working that time, so this is what my schedule used to look like. So after my work, I used to finish my dinner, and after my dinner, I used to put my phone in my room, and then I used to go for a walk around my flat. We had a really nice walkway over there. And since I did not have a phone, like a smartphone, I did not have any distractions. And I used to go back to my childhood right from the age where I could actually have any memory, like maybe at the age of 5 or 4 or whatever. And every day for almost I think 15 days or 16 days, I used to remember whatever I could from that particular year or that particular age. So like from the age of 6, 8, 7, 8. I never used to remember as per my age. I used to remember as per the class I was studying in school. So like first class memory, second, third, fourth, up until 10. And then after 10, even like 12, 11, 12, and all the 4 years in college. And I used to remember what were all the events that occurred in my life in that particular year. So this was extremely exhaustive, mind you. It is not easy, and everyone might not be able to do it because you might forget many things from your childhood. But I made sure that I would have at least like 5 to 6 good things which I can bring in my application from that particular year. So it might be possible that it might take 3 days for you to remember something from your eighth class. It might take maybe 1 year, like half a day to remember something from your engineering first year. So it might depend, but make sure that you put your hard work. And then once I finished my work, I used to have like this whole baggage of stuff which I now happily reminisce over. So not just because for the essay, I just have very good memories. So I used to go back and I used to write all of this on my Samsung note. I used to write all these things, whatever I remembered. And then after that, I used to proceed with the next year. And then this happened for like 15, 20 days. And that's when I actually started working on the document that Tanmay provided. I had remembered what the questions were. So I was ready with the answers, but I just needed to craft them. And I spent the next, I think, 2 weeks writing those answers. Now I had a like lot of data with me, like whatever I could remember, I had from me. And during this, because of this, I also had the chance to reconnect with some of my old friends because I had all these memories in mind. And yeah, so obviously then I wrote the answers, and then I had like I knew that I had written the answers to those documents really well. And after that, I obviously did not have much extra effort to put in because the documents helped me a lot in writing the essay. So that's the second suggestion I would recommend everyone, which is uh, work really hard on those documents that he provides. Uh, Reflect on yourself deeply because the adcom really wants an honest version of you, not not something you've done just for the application or for to get an admit. Like be 100% honest. The third suggestion would be have a clear vision for both your short-term and long-term goals post your MBA. Ensure that those goals are realistic in your background. If you have a background A and you're aiming for a background B, which is nowhere related, you don't have anyone in history who's even doing that, don't write that. You can do it after you go to your school, do whatever you want, but on your essays, write something which actually makes sense in the real world. Reflect on your professional experience, considering the roles that in industries you worked on. Identify the skills that you you would require to reach that goal, and then you would have to explain how the school would help you. So this fit, finding this fit between where you are right now, where you want to go, what you lack to go there, and how will the school help you. So this is something which Tanmay told this, I think, in the first or second call we had after I started working with him. So this, I remember you always used to use this, used to use both your hands and keep them together. And maybe because you emphasized in this way, that is why I never forgot the importance of finding that fit. And obviously, when once you write how the school helps you, you also need to let the school know how you will help them. So there should be values and beliefs that you believe in, which should match with the school. So this is the second part of the answer. So yeah, so once you ensure this, the school will also see that they have a strong alignment with you, and then they would be happy to at least offer the chance to interview your take you as an admit. So yeah,
Yeah.
so these are the uh, three tips I would like to share.
Thank you so much for the very detailed answer, Nishant. I really appreciate this. And also the fact that you still remembered how I use my hands to demonstrate fit, the mutual
Right.
fit that you must have with the school and the school which, should have with you. I think so. You raised very two important points in your response. The very first is, of course, to very sincerely and dedicatedly work on the three documents, IOE, PBQ, and PBW, because
Right.
they help you not only while writing your essays, but also during your interview preparation. And later, when you go to the school and recruit for jobs or internships, those three documents will come to your rescue even at that time. And the second point that you
Definitely.
made was, about understanding what is it that you are expecting from the school. So if you have that clarity, you would be in a good position to position yourself in the admissions process and then go ahead with your application. So thank you for doing that. Now, Nishant, so this was about the application part, right? The written application part. You also received an interview invite from ESADE. Now, how did you prepare for the interview after submitting your ESADE applications? What all steps did you take to prepare for the interview?
Sure. Sure. So first of all, before I answer this, I want to let everyone know that, like I mentioned, the three documents that we work on. So the documents are so exhaustive that once you prepare the answers really well for them, they would more or less prepare you for the interview as well. Uh, you can actually find answers out of those essays and use them for the questions which actually will be asked in the interview. So Tanmay had provided me with a document of an exhaustive list of questions that would be asked in the interview. And since I had the document, I just had to write the answers. Okay, we have one more point which I forgot to mention. Write them. Do not think that you will memorize them and you'll actually blurt it on the interview. Write them. Writing, write well. Okay, if you're not comfortable writing on a piece of paper, at least write them. and highlight the important points with a proper highlighter. So once you do this, you will have what you want to actually speak in an interview. So after that, thanks to Tanmay, I think he had given me three mocks and a short mock right before the actual interview. And during all these mocks, I made sure to, you know, answer them without stammering or stuttering. So I never had the uh, problem of stammering or stuttering. But the first time when he took the mock, I don't think I did really well. Maybe because it was the first time I was talking on camera for a mock interview. But he obviously gave me feedback after the call. Not just that, even after all the three calls that we had, and I made sure to note down his points. So we had a document where all the interview questions were there, and I had written the answers. I also made sure to write all of the points that he had mentioned to improve upon at the end of the document. I made sure to read that document before I took the next mock. So there was nothing that I had missed after I had taken my previous mock, and so this actually helped me. And yeah, so other than this, I don't think there was something extra that I did. It was all because of the three documents I had worked on and the exhaustive work that I had done prior to writing those answers. So the preparation phase for the interview was extremely smooth, and it was fun. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good to know. I think one of the key points that I must highlight here was that when I took your mock interviews number 2, 3, and 4, I could see that you had incorporated the feedback from the previous mock, which is something interesting and very important because some people are not able to do that for reasons that are, that we don't need to discuss in this call, but they're not very good at taking feedback. But in your case, I could see that you were very good at taking feedback, right? And you made sure that you were not repeating the mistakes which I had highlighted in the previous one. You were also making sure to repeat the things which like the good things which I highlighted in the previous mock and said, okay, Nishant, this was very good. Let's continue speaking it this way, or let's continue using this material for your response, during the interview as well. So we did that. I remember, I did remember that all four mocks that we had were centered around the questions, which your interviewer eventually asked you. And that actually leads me to the next question. Could you please tell us about the questions, like if you have a rough memory or something, about the questions which your interviewer at ESADE asked you during the ESADE MBA interview?
sure, sure. I think the first question was to uh, like a brief introduction about myself, and that was a pretty standard question which I had already prepared beforehand. The second question was, why do I want to pursue an MBA in 2025? What was the reason? Why was 2025 special for me? Uh, and the question after that was about other schools. So I think the question was around uh, since I've applied to other schools as well, what is the status of on those applications, and have I received any news for that? And I think after that, the next question was about my goals. What are my short term and long term goals? And the last one, which was actually the one which I mean, that was actually the question which I had prepared a lot for, and uh, I mean, thanks to working with you, I had the answers ready, which was uh, how will do I believe in the values of ISADE, and if do I think I'm a perfect fit for the school? If yes, how? Like why? So that was the question. And yeah, so these were all the questions. And obviously, towards the end, she asked if I had any questions for her, and even during the mocks, we had prepared the answers for that question as well. So we knew what to ask her after the interview. So
Yes.
yeah, these are I think about 7 to 8 questions in total. Yeah,
Yeah, I very clearly remember the time when I sent the email to you, which had the four C's of ISADE and also the values. I remember sharing a link with you while we were preparing for the interviews that, okay, Nishant, these are the values. Could you please go through them? And of course, the four C's, which, ISADE really values. And so I think doing these things, these small, small things are where the interviewer thinks we might not have prepared. But I'm very glad that we were able to prepare even that question so that, I mean, um, I always try my best to make sure that I'm leaving no stone unturned during the interview preparation, simply because when you receive an interview invite, it means that the school likes you 60%. And now,
Right.
during the interview, it's your job to make them like you the remaining 40% as well. And so that's exactly why you should make sure that you're giving your absolute 200% during the interview so that there is no scope for them to not give an offer letter to you, right? Now, based on this, let's talk a little bit more about that. How do you think you performed in the interview?
Right. Right. So once the interview was done, I was happy with my the way I spoke during the interview. I was pretty happy with the way I spoke with. There was no technical glitches or any problem that I had faced personally while speaking to her. So I because of the like again I keep mentioning this again and again because of the documents that I had worked on, I had a very good idea of how my values would match with ESADE's and how I would contribute to ESADE. Uh, so like there was one particular instance where she talked about collaboration, and then I had my answer in my head already ready, where I had highlighted, then I highlighted my collaborative experiences at Space and Kantar, and then reinforced my fit with the school's culture. Other than that, again, the short term and long term goals question, I was able to clearly let them know my experience, what I plan to do after my MBA, and then how will the school help me achieve that goal. And yeah, and so other than that, we so yeah, I don't think there was anything else which kind of threw me off track. The answers to all the questions I had them ready because of the 3 to 4 mocks that I did. There's one point which I'd like to highlight here. So uh, before I had started working on the mocks, I had this thought for a second: do we really need 3 mocks? Because the my performance after the first mock was not the best, but I was pretty sure that at the end of the second mock I was ready. But because we did 2 more mocks, even though the improvement would not have been a lot, because I had spoken in this mock setting 4 times. It did not it felt like a normal, it felt like a fifth mock. It never felt like an interview with Edina, and it felt like a normal conversation with her. Like, she was extremely friendly and polite, and uh, thanks to you, thanks to talking to you for over I don't know, 1.5 year, the way you talked to us as well, I knew how, like, I did not uh, do anything extra. I was just being polite and nice, just like you are polite and nice to us. So I think Edina appreciated that as well during the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say one thing, which is that, uh, manners never go out of fashion.
Right. Right.
You should always, always try your best to be, as mannered as possible. Uh, there are, of course, certain situations, certain very few rare situations which don't always demand manners, and you should, then deal with the situation accordingly. But in almost all of the situations, you should try your best to be as mannered as possible, because I've seen this over the years now, Nishant, not just in my professional life, but also in my personal life. People never fail to recognize that this person is well mannered. And so that's something that I always make sure that I kind of incorporate and, kind of not incorporate, but inculcate, and at least try my best to inculcate the same things in my students as well, because I realize that this is the Tanmay Singh legacy that you're carrying forward. And that's something that I always make sure to kind of imbibe in my students, as I said, while they work with me, which is a cycle of about usually 4 to 6 months, depending on when we are starting, right? But like, I also work with people from 1 or 2 years before they start working on their applications. But when we actually work on the applications is when I always make sure to kind of highlight that please make sure that you are, displaying your manners. All of you have been raised by very good set of parents, which means that they have given you good manners. But this is also a time to remember those manners and to make sure that you are, displaying them to the best of your abilities, right? Because every small thing counts. I remember when you started working with me, I requested you to get a professional headshot linked. And then we use that across your different social media platforms, which are visible to the admissions committee, right? So these are very small, small things. And I remember requesting you to clean shave during your interview, and also before the getting the professional headshot link, because I know that these small, small things really matter a lot, because ultimately you're dealing with human beings. AI has still not taken over yet. So, we are dealing with human beings, which means that these small, small things can be, uh, they can provide scope for bias, and we should try our best to avoid all biases, right? Okay, now that said, you also received a massive scholarship of 10,000 euros. Many congratulations to you for that. How did that happen? What did you do to bag that scholarship?
Right, right. Uh, the scholarship, uh, I mean, I was not kind of expecting it. Uh, the reason I think I got the scholarship was the I mean, so there are multiple reasons. So the first reason I would like to highlight here is the way I ensure that my values align with Isade's values, and I made sure to highlight them not just in my essays but even in my interview. So I made sure that at every point in time I was in like letting them know that I'm genuinely excited to join them and how my values would match with theirs. Other than this, there is uh, one subtle point which I'd like to mention. It might not be the reason, but I'm pretty sure it is. So working with you taught me how to write professional emails in a succinct manner. So you emphasized adding genuine excitement and enthusiasm along with conveying the main message. So I believe this skill is invaluable as it requires maintaining that balance between sounding overly eager and ensuring this professional tone. Well, this is something, and along before I had received the uh, interview invite, I had sent tons of emails to various folks at ESADE for any query or for anything. And at the end of every email, I made sure to let them know how excited I am to join their school. This is first. The second is obviously the scholarship essay. So I ensured to showcase key instances from my professional background where I exhibited leadership qualities, and I also articulated how I plan to give back to the school both during the MBA and after completing it. And yeah, and also there are small things like make sure that I attend every session that ISADE conducts and ensuring that I turn my camera on, ensuring that I speak up during those calls, ensuring that my name is heard during those calls. Don't just attend the call because you want to get something from them. Also let them know that yeah, there is someone by your name who's attending it and is interested in joining. Basically stand out during such instances. Those are the only times you actually get a chance to show yourself in a group. Obviously, the emails do work, but again, the emails are emails. Don't get to talk to them. Oh yeah, coming to the emails and like ensure that you have a professional headshot. So these are small, small things which show that you are a human over there, not a robot. The fact that you have a professional headshot in the email profile picture shows that okay, it's at least someone who has the courtesy to let us know how he or she looks in real life before even having the interview. So I think these habits, like small habits, actually make you stand out. And I think these are maybe kind of things which help me get the scholarship at Isade.
Okay, sounds very good to me. Now, let's talk a little bit about my mentorship, right? How was my mentorship important while working on the SADE MBA application?
Right, right. Uh, it was definitely very important. Um the entire phase of writing the essays and preparing for the interviews helped me build that confidence in the final interview. Uh, Firstly, when I was working on those three documents, you gave me sufficient time to introspect and answer the questions. You were never pushing me or rushing me to finish those answers. Obviously, we had a deadline of another school at the time, but uh, you were never like, forcing me to finish those answers in a hurry. You were giving me your time. You kept reminding me every 3 to 4 days, checking on my status, which was actually needed because I was also working at the time. Uh, so because I had given sufficient time to these answers, and I had obviously worked on the application essays as well. The interview also felt really smooth. Then, like I mentioned, the second point which I also mentioned in the previous answer, which was writing profession like crafting good professional emails. So this is a skill that I picked from you, and I'm pretty sure it will help me throughout my career. So writing good emails and knowing when to like not when knowing to put the balance between sounding overly eager and professional is something that helped me a lot. Other than that, you also stay up to date with various online webinars or sessions and constantly share the links to those, ensuring that we are well informed and then we attend them. I also do it, but the fact that you do it along with me is like a double check. So in case I miss something, I know that you would be there to share it with me. Oh yeah, well, and I also remember you also check on us during the call if you're actually attending it. Like you give the final check. Okay, is my student actually attending it, or he just informed me that he's attending and he's not. So yeah, and okay, the final thing which I believe is the most important thing ever. So not this I got to know this before when I started working with you, which is you maintain a professional and respectful tone even with your mentee. So I've known you for about like 1.5 years now, and whenever I talk to you, you ensure to check how I'm doing and like how is the day going, like the basic stuff. And initially, I found it a little bit amusing because we had gotten so much closer, but yet you maintain this professional, respectful tone, uh, like the formal tone. But thanks to you, these interactions actually helped me in my interviews. I was already equipped and well prepared to answer those questions in this exact tone that you spoke to us. So I was kind of trained indirectly how to speak in a respectful manner with someone who's not an Indian. So this respectful and polished demeanor which you had, uh, I kind of replicated that not just in interview but in other interactions as well in my life.
That's good.
And finally, the mocks. So you took four mocks, each of them lasting almost an hour, and you gave me proper feedback after every mock, which I worked upon and improved subsequently. So yeah, so these are the kind of nuggets I believe which helped me in my entire journey.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for sharing them, Nishant. Now, let's conclude our conversation by asking you any three do's and don'ts for study abroad aspirants. Someone who's, wanting to study abroad, what do's and don'ts would you like to share with them?
Sure, sure. So I'll start with the do's. So the first point is try starting early on your application. Do not rush on your applications. Keep 1.5 to 2 months aside for building your story and working on your essays. And give yourself this time. Like I said during the GMAT journey, rather than working 6 to 7 hours a day, work 2 to 3 hours a day, but work consistently. And give yourself this time as it will pay off later when you actually work on your real college essays and introspect, think, and go back to your childhood and college days, trying to find instances of instances of uh, like activities that you did, why you did something, and how it shaped you, how it impacted you as a child or as a teenager. And all of this will require time, and that is why I say try starting early. Second is have a clear vision of your short-term and long-term goals. Ensure that they are realistic considering your background, and the school will actually be able to help you. And third would be Tanmay would be conducting a LinkedIn networking workshop. So immediately after the workshop, start connecting with students and alumni immediately. Do not postpone it because the working professionals usually reply on weekends. They won't reply on weekdays because they are working. So like whenever you get a free time, send them a request, and then whenever they reply back, you would get the notification. But do not postpone sending the message. They themselves would take 3, 4, 5, even a week, 7 days of time to reply back. So do it as soon as possible. And when they reply back, try scheduling a call over the weekend. And once you have scheduled it, then I mean, then at least you don't have to worry about that particular person. But at least get to that stage of scheduling a call. Once the call is scheduled, you can actually think what to do next. But make sure that you don't leave chats unattended or leave the chats unattended or leave the people there hanging because they are giving some time of their daily life for you. So do not ignore them or reply after like 2, 3 days and then apologize and stuff. So this is why be active on LinkedIn and keep checking those messages. These are the three do's that I have. Uh, don'ts would be, don't underestimate the GMAT. Uh, like I said, it's more of a marathon than a sprint. Avoid rushing or looking for shortcuts, especially in the RC section, reading comprehension section, and the CR section, critical reasoning section. I did this mistake in my first attempt. So do not take any shortcuts. Follow the right process. Go back. Like okay, the most important skill I feel in RC and CR is the ability to read. It sounds so silly, but the moment you know how to read something, many of your problems would be solved. So this is a mistake which I made. I did not follow the right process in the beginning, but later on I improved upon it. Then, if your scores aren't improving, if your mock test scores aren't improving in your GMAT, don't let it overwhelm you. It might scare you because the application deadlines are approaching and your score is not improving. You stay committed, put in the effort with the right strategy. By right strategy, I mean the right process, no shortcut. Do not take any shortcut. There will be lots of people over there giving you shortcuts or like quick trips, tricks, and stuff. Do not follow them. It might work sometimes, it might not work sometimes. If it works sometimes, you might get the score. But there are many times it doesn't work. No one tells you the instances where it doesn't work. People only tell you if they actually work. So the dark side, no one talks about. And yeah, and after all of this, if your score isn't as high as you had hoped, remember not to be discouraged. The GMAT is just one part of the overall process. There are many other things they will be testing you on. Second, don't avoid waiting until the last day to submit your application, as technical issues with the portal can arise, or even with your internet. And your entire 2 3 months of effort will be wasted just because you procrastinated that to the last day. Third, don't use AI to write your essays, as admission committee members can easily recognize them. Be authentic, be sincere. Like I said, go back to your childhood in your memory and reflect who you truly are. Understand what you did something, why you did, and how it impacted you as a child, as a teenager. Be genuine. So this is my third don't. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
thank you. Thank you, Nishant. Those are very useful, and I'm pretty sure that anyone who would be listening and watching this video would be able to understand how to kind of go about things in their study abroad journey. Nishant, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much once again for your time. I really, really appreciate it, and we will stay connected, and I will keep trying
Sure,
my best
sure.
to help in whatever ways I can. Okay.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Tanmay, for giving me the chance to speak to you.
No worries. Happy to help. Happy to be here for you. Happy to support, not just in this journey, but also as much as I can later as well. Okay.
Yep,
Thanks,
yep.
Nishant. You have a great day ahead. And, nice talking to you.